What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell, we're going to be talking about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard in the defamation trial that the entire world is watching. As most of you know, I'm a person in long-term recovery who has been to prison, who now has a bachelor's degree with an under in psychology. I love psychology. I love studying things like body language and personality disorders. So in today's video, I'm going to break down 7 times Amber Heard lied. I'm going to talk about her body language. I'm going to give you my very biased opinion, but I am not an expert, so definitely do some more research on body language analysis and substance use disorder and personality disorders. Go do your own research because this video is going to be biased. It's my opinion. That's all. As always, you guys can follow me all around the internet on all of my different social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon. Patreon is $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel and my podcast. All right, without further ado, let's kick this thing off. It is my opinion that Amber Heard is telling the truth. But wait, hold on, Jessica, you already made a video saying that you didn't believe Amber, that all these are lies, da. She's telling the truth, and it is peppered with lies, dramatizations, exaggerations, blatant lies that we've uncovered. Let me preface by saying that nothing else in this case matters except for the 2018 op-ed and whether or not that directly impacted Johnny Depp's career. All of the other details, all of the drama and the tea in their relationship doesn't matter, but it matters. So it's hella confusing. The sole purpose of this trial is to establish if the 2018 op-ed that Amber has now admitted to writing, and we're gonna get into it, if that directly impacted Johnny's career and if he lost substantial money surrounding the 2018 op-ed. That is what the defamation case is for. So there's so much in this trial that we don't really need to know about. Now we are trying to figure out who was the abuser. And there's a lot of different opinions on this. A lot of people think that this was just a very toxic relationship, that they both abused each other. Having watched every single minute of this trial, it is my opinion that Johnny struggles with childhood trauma, substance use disorder. It is also my opinion that a lot of the things that we have seen Johnny say in text messages or do in videos was reactive abuse. When Amber took the stand, I did my absolute best to just listen to her, to hear her out, to listen to her with an open mind, because this is important testimony. What is her experience? It is very important, and I think that she failed miserably here, but it is very important for the jury to like you, for you to seem genuine, for you to seem like you were telling the truth. It's important to be honest, or at the very least, have people feel as though you're honest. So I want to start with Amber's body language, and then I want to go into all of the times that I personally have caught her lying in this trial, and that's going to come out in cross-examination. But with her body language, there were a lot of key red flags to me. The first part of her testimony, for all intents and purposes, is truthful. How did you grow up? What were your interests? How did you go to LA? Eventually, how do you meet Johnny? Things of that nature. So the beginning of her testimony is very truthful for the most part. Now, during the beginning moments of someone's testimony, this is where body language people get a baseline for how a certain person is moving, is behaving, is interacting. And what was interesting in my personal, not professional opinion, was even then Amber was making statements like statement period. She wanted to drive home the fact that she was relatable and she grew up in, Texas, and her father raised horses, and she's very hardworking and worked all the time, and she wanted to drive home the fact that she is independent and hardworking. And to me, it felt very much like she is stacking the deck. She is laying a foundation that she's gonna go back to later by saying, I don't want Johnny's money because I've always been independent. I've always wanted to work. So in the beginning moments of that testimony, you can tell that they are working towards a goal to bring out the things that they have practiced saying. And the reason why I say practice saying is because so much of this felt scripted, but we're gonna get into it. Typically when somebody bites their lip, you see Amber do that many times, where she kind of sucks in her bottom lip. That is a comfort thing. That is in moments of stress, moments of awkwardness. It's an attempt for your body to kind of self-soothe, which I found very interesting. She really wants to seem at first very relatable to the jury. I'm hardworking, independent girl, moves out to LA. I meet this big famous star who had a lot more money than me, a lot more experience than me. He's twice my age. He has a lot of means that I was not used to. She very much wants the jury to kind of empathize with that, like they probably don't know what it would feel like, as most of us don't, to meet a multi-million dollar star who has all of these means and resources, from buying very expensive bottles of wine to buying gifts and taking these extravagant trips. Most of us would be like flabbergasted to even be in the same vicinity as Johnny Depp, right? So she's really trying to kind of lay that home. She's really wanting the jury to think like, I was just blown away by this guy. He's double my age, he's more experienced than me, he's richer than me, he's more famous than me. I was just starstruck, essentially. There's a lot of like red flags in her testimony where she is very over the top, very dramatic, which anyone would be as they're recounting this trauma. But there's so many odd things that she says that the whole time she's trying to see, make eye contact with the jury. That is not normal. When someone is really crying, you hear it in their breath. They're very paused. They're not able to make statements. And as she's recounting this trauma, it's statement period, statement period. She also confuses past tense and present tense, which was a huge red flag to me. So the first time she says that Johnny slapped her, that's past tense. If that was true, then slapped would be the right tense to use. But as she's talking about this, she goes from slapped to slap, and she interchanges them. And that is very odd. She also talks in detail over things that I don't think matter. If you're concerned with your safety and your life, and you're really afraid for your life, you're not going to be honed in and focused on the carpet being dirty. I feel like this is a ridiculous tactic from Amber's lawyers to paint Johnny Depp as this drug addict, alcoholic, dirty, problematic person, and Amber is this very fragile girl, and she was very manipulated or abused by Johnny. I think that's what they're trying to portray, because we heard the phrase dirty carpet in opening statements, and it was hella weird then, and it's weird now that Amber is saying the same thing back to them, almost as if it was scripted. And that is what is so freaking cringe. It is very difficult to watch. Not in the sense that you're hearing someone that has gone through that trauma and it's hard to hear the details. It's very hard to watch because it feels so fake. It is so cringy, it is so uncomfortable because it just does not seem genuine. When someone is telling the truth, usually their body is going to naturally and almost subconsciously be making gestures as they're recounting what happened in their mind. So we see that a lot in Johnny's testimony, and Johnny's testimony seemed very genuine, where, he physically does the gestures. My hand was on the counter, the vodka bottle came, it shattered, boom. He is doing all of these motions, because he's remembering it, he's recounting it. He is accessing those memories, and you can see that in his body language. When Amber is talking about the alleged sexual assault, it's very different. She's not making the motions and the gestures. She appears to be fake crying, which is awful if this really happened, right? And I hate to say that, but it doesn't seem real. She's simultaneously trying to make eye contact. Typically, from my experience in working with people that are, going to treatment, or they're talking to me about their story and it's an extreme traumatic event, they're typically looking down or away as they're remembering the sequence of events that happened. And you can almost feel when someone is recounting trauma to that magnitude, you can almost feel, you get goosebumps, you get chills as you are seeing it through their eyes and you're hearing their story. You don't feel that with Amber. Hey, so I'm editing this video and I just wanted to pop in here and kind of explain a little bit further what I was talking about when I was talking about Amber's body not being in sync with her story. I don't think I explained it well, but essentially when you're telling a story, your body kind of moves along with those things as you're telling it, and that is in sync. You're supposed to be in sync with yourself. We don't want to lie. It is not something that we do naturally. I mean, of course, some people lie better than others, and just because you're an actor does not mean you're gonna be a good liar. You can tell in so many instances where Amber is intentionally doing things, her body is out of sync with her story, and there are very obvious moments where she's talking about violence where it's completely a lie to me. So when Amber is talking about being grabbed by the hair, I'm not smiling because that's something that's funny, I'm smiling because it's like, duh, I see you. If you're talking about being grabbed by the hair, you would go like this, like he grabbed me by the hair. What Amber does, she goes, he grabbed me by the hair. That's a motion that, like, if I grab you by the hair and I go to tell someone, I grabbed her by the hair. That's the motion that my body would naturally do in sync with my story, right? When Amber says that, she goes, he grabbed me by the hair. The reason why she does that instead of this to me is because I guarantee you she has pulled Johnny's hair. She has grabbed him, because if he grabbed her, she would have been doing a different motion. He grabbed me by the arm, he grabbed me by the hair. Not he grabbed me. This is I did this motion, not it was done to me motion. Amber also talks about getting kicked in the back with a boot. If you're trying to remember the story in your head and you're watching it as you are trying to explain it, you would probably see in your head a boot hitting someone's back if this is a lie, because you're trying to remember the story and you're trying to remember details of the story so it seems real, but it's a lie. If you were violently kicked full force in the back, you're not going to see a boot. You're not going to think about a boot. You're just going to think about the immense pain that you're struggling with. Then for her to say I was embarrassed that I was just kicked in the back with a boot, no, dude, you're not embarrassed. If that really happened, you were in a lot of pain. You're scared. You don't know what's gonna happen next. Your adrenaline is running. You're nervous. You wanna get away, fight or flight, right? That's not how she describes this happening at all. There are so many moments like that, and it's not just about what Amber says and what Johnny says. I am watching how everyone responds to the way that they're talking. When Amber is listening to Johnny, she's making eye contact. She's trying to visibly make a sad face. When you are upset, sad, under duress, that's a very hard face to fake, right? Like, even though she's an actor, it's a very difficult frowny chin motion face. It's not easy to reenact. It's important to watch the way that Johnny and his lawyers listen and react to the things that Amber has said. There's also another moment when Johnny is talking where he says, I was this alleged wife beater. If you were accused of being something that you are not, chances are you're going to use the term that someone else used to describe you that is false. If you are that person, if you are a wife beater, chances are you're going to try to use a different term that is a little more gentle. You're not going to come right out and say, she said I was this wife beater. To me, that tells me that Johnny doesn't think that he's that at all, that is so far outside of who he is that he uses that direct term. I cannot wait until cross-examination. All right, back to the video. So Amber has made so many very odd, very strange comments throughout her testimony. Now, these are not in any particular order, but one of them that was so odd to me is that she allegedly overhears Johnny on the phone with somebody. She is saying it is, you know, someone that he works with, and Johnny's very upset because he feels that people are stealing money from him. And almost in the same sentence, she says that she immediately called her divorce lawyer so that she could talk about a post-nump agreement where, like, prenup would be like before you get married. So she's saying that I wanted the post-nump agreement and I called my divorce attorney for it. I think she confuses divorce attorney with something else, counselor or some shit, but she interchanges it a couple of different times. It was just very odd because you wouldn't call a divorce attorney for a post-nump agreement. Then she does this on several occasions where she goes to say one thing and then she quickly retracts it and says something else. For example, she said, I took a bunch of sleeping pills. Wait, no, 2, but 2 is a lot for me. It was almost as if she didn't want the jury to think that she, you know, was a drug addict or took drugs, or she couldn't handle drugs, so only 2. That would be a normal amount, I guess, in her head. But I think it would be so much more normal to just stick with what you said. For you to say, I took a bunch of sleeping pills. Okay, well, if you're in a stressed out situation, we can write that off. That's cool, I get it. You would need to sleep after extreme trauma to your body and your mind, and it would make sense that you would want to take a bunch of sleeping pills after such a traumatic event if that is what happened, right? But she very quickly retracts that, and it makes people kind of wonder, well, why would you retract it? It makes her seem like she's trying too hard. In the moment that she's talking about taking the sleeping pills, like she's in Australia, right? So if she's super groggy from taking a bunch or maybe 2 sleeping pills, is she really fully aware of what's happening, or is she super groggy? How can she remember one thing in great detail and something else not so much? It makes it seem as though that recount of Australia is not as credible as it should. So maybe that's why she wanted to retract and say, oh no, I only took 2 sleeping pills. I don't know. Something else that I felt was very, very, very weird, and I hated hearing her say it, is when they're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean 5, she kept saying P5. This to me screams, I've practiced my lines. In my lines that were written down for me, it said P5, we abbreviated it, and she says it multiple times, then corrects herself. If you're trying to write a script for trial, usually your lawyers would tell you not to change the way that you speak. Say the words that you would typically use. Even if they're not politically correct, talk the way that you normally talk so that the jury has a good sense of who you are, so that you feel genuine. Don't try to change who you are. And the wording that she uses is, you can tell that it's just very fake. It's just all very fake. So for me, that felt scripted. She kept, say one thing and then retract it. Oh no, sorry, I meant this. And that is odd. She also made a statement that said, everyone warned him about me. That was very strange to me as well, because the jury is going to think one of two things in my mind. The jury is going to think either, well, maybe he should have listened to the people that warned him about you, or they're going to think, oh, well, that's not fair that people made assumptions about you before meeting you, and I understand why that could cause tension in your relationship. It could go one of two ways. Also, if she has worked through this trauma in therapy, it should be a little bit easier, you would think, to recount this alleged trauma. I know firsthand, as someone diagnosed with PTSD, that when I am talking about the birth of my daughter, there are some details that I don't say every time, or there are some things that I might say in one video that you guys have seen, and then I don't say it in another one. It's because as I am remembering the trauma, I'm not remembering it necessarily all together in order. I'm recounting it in that moment to the best of my ability. So for me, it feels like Amber has practiced this in a very scripted way, recounting the trauma like this. While she's talking about Johnny slapping her, she says, I know you can't hit a woman. I know a woman can't hit a man. Very quickly tries to correct herself. And she says she never made contact with Johnny. She never hit him. She never hit him. But then almost an hour previously to that, she said, yes, I slapped him across the face. So did you make contact with him, or did you not make contact with him? Throughout the course of her entire testimony, there's so many things that just are glaringly obvious. So pretty quickly, we hear about this alleged, very brutal, very violent attack against her, and that Johnny Depp did this horrible, graphic thing that I cannot talk about here. But if you've been following the trial, you know that she is alleging that he raped her, assaulted her, and she was all cut up and all, very, very badly hurt in Australia. It is unclear if the jury is going to hear this recording, but I wanted to play it for you guys here because when I found this on the internet, I was blown away. There is audio recording of this incident right after it happened, and I don't think the jury is going to get to hear this because there are other voices on this tape. So I'm going to play just a little bit of this audio recording, and then we can kind of talk about what I think of it. It is a very long audio recording, so I will link it down below to the channel that I found it on. Full credit to that channel, but this is very crazy in my mind.
Amber is the one who secretly recorded this whole thing for reasons only she knows. Taking place in Queensland, Australia on March 8, 2015, mere moments after she claimed to have been physically assaulted, pushed, punched repeatedly, choked, slammed, and dragged naked over broken glass, allegedly leaving her with a swollen nose, a busted bloody lip, and countless slashes all over her arms, legs, feet, and body. Johnny has submitted evidence that he was the one assaulted during this incident, with Amber throwing a large vodka bottle, breaking and severing his finger, and burning his face with a cigarette. Dr. David Kipper and Nurse Debbie Lloyd. Amber Heard would have you believe this duo, who specialize in addiction, were solely tasked with helping Johnny, but as you listen to the audio, you'll realize they are very much present to help deal with Amber. Make note that during the entire audio, not only does Amber not speak as someone who just moments earlier had been physically and sexually assaulted, but these medical professionals, along with everyone else present that you'll hear, are not even acknowledging any existence of the horrifying physical injuries Amber now claims she received. And let me make it very clear, Dr. Kipper and Debbie Lloyd are members of Amber's official medical team as well.
I wish you fucking understood what you are and who you are and how you fucked me over and make me feel sick of myself.
could be in here too. So I just, so you know, I'll tell her. The majority of the blood, Debbie, is downstairs, but I went through that really carefully. Oh wait, there's a. Someone tried to clean something out. You know, I'm really concerned because he's got a lot of pain.
A lot of pain?
Pain. He's got a lot of pain also. You saw it.
No.
But it's a very important thing that's going to get in back there. Didn't find it.
Oh.
All right, here.
Throw it in the trash in the inbox.
My advice. Alex got to take care of herself. We're going to take care of him. They can't be together now. It's going to send off and come back. So, however, Amber, I think she should be in Los Angeles with her support system. And this has to run its course. And this is not going to be 1 day. This is going to be 2 days.
How about I feel like somebody needs to fly with her.
Jerry's going to follow.
She won't touch her.
Good job, choice.
She has to
Yes, I mean, I know, I don't mean to invalidate what you're saying, but.
No, but I'm just wondering if there's another person. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I asked those same questions earlier, and it all goes like that. For that reason, like he's not going to be manipulated. He's a strong guy. That loves him, but we're about to. Maybe she should have something. I told Danny it's probably used to this.
Can I give her like 50 a circle?
What?
50 a circle?
Yeah.
300 Jonathan?
Yeah.
She only usually takes 25. Are you okay with 50?
Oh, the Seraphim?
Yeah.
I'd be okay with 100, but here's 50. So I'll tell you what's going in that. This is guilt. This is guilt.
She won't take 50. I gave her 25 and 300 and said we reassess in a little bit.
Ben's saying that as we speak, I'm saying David's still got a bloody fucking job, so you know what's going on. Is it? How long took it?
And this was today, by the way, not just pain, I think. It is.
What's the process of the guy? What's the process of the guy? When did you start over here yourself? She's upstairs in normal. So, and she is talking to me. She's obviously crying up and down the fucking window. It's been given some minutes. Debbie said, and Ken said she said that she was 3 hours. I'm saying, no, I've still got 11 in my pocket. So Debbie came and said, if she wakes up, she'll have to give her another one, and she might sleep through the night. So I decided what to do. I'm hoping she'll I understand. I'm just, look, I've seen John bed, I've never seen this bed. And when I say he wrecked this place, I mean it's wrecked. There's no broken. There's TV, I think she did. There's a phone, it missed. There's been bottles thrown. She admits to me, she threw a bottle on me. She did it first. She admits to me that, and I said to her, asked a second, and she said, actually, it's really beautiful things to do in my temple. He was shouting out, screaming out. That's scratches on her left arm, which David told about. I've looked at it, and I've seen those scratches before on other people. And as far as I'm concerned, they're self-inflicted. I'm convinced about it, they're self-inflicted. At the moment, I'm working with the devil. God has laid it out because we'll be selling the car to get off to trim down and go legal on this to get this whole thing calmed down.
I thought I'd give a couple of minutes and have them finish packing.
I need to know what's there.
Hotel, we need to look for up for it.
Right, well, let me go on because I'm going to Christian and John.
I mean, I just said you should get in this place.
Well, he's dangerous. I'll be honest with you. I do believe the way she is, we need, if she kicks on, we need someone strong like me and Malcolm to be with her. But I would say Ben has been upstairs for 2 hours and he's been talking to her and he has a way of just keeping her calm. What I do not want to do at the moment is jeopardize what we're doing with Johnny because his finger comes first.
That is crazy audio, and definitely go watch the full thing. There is zero discussion of Amber's injuries or Amber being hurt or he did it again. Oh gosh, okay, Amber, you need to leave so that you're safe. They're just trying to calm her down, give her Seroquel so that she can just go. You know, they want her out of there. So whatever Amber needs, yes, okay, Amber, whatever you want, whatever you need, let's get you out of here. Let's go back to LA. Like, you should not be here. And they're all trying to just calm her down. They don't want her there. It's very, very obvious. Not one time is any of Amber's injuries ever discussed. Tape in Australia would also be important evidence, I would think, that she is lying about the assault, because if she was all cut up from glass and she had a lot of injuries, someone would have mentioned that in that moment, right? And I understand the focus would be on Johnny's fingertip as that is the most severe, but no one even says anything. No one says, okay, you got Johnny, let me go get some, gauze or Band-Aids or something for Amber to try to calm her down. They're just trying to give her Seroquel. In opening statements, Amber's lawyer said that she carried this Milani color correcting concealer palette all around, to color correct all the bruises. Milani literally came out and said, no, that makeup palette didn't even exist until after 2016. It came out in 2017. So that proves Amber as a liar as well. Not a good look. Her donating this money to charity, it never made it there. There's a lot of things that look really bad for Amber, like her witnesses withdrawing. Elon Musk and James Franco, they were on the potential witness list. They are not gonna testify. And in the state of Virginia, if you don't live there, they can't make you testify. So she doesn't really have any witnesses on her side, while Johnny has tons of support. We have officers saying they never saw any marks on her. With her credibility being shot to hell, I think the world is very well aware of the fact that she has lied many times, that has been proven, and that this was a really bad and toxic relationship and she has hurt Johnny. The bruising pictures that she has showed, I saw people talking about that being very consistent with Botox and filler bruising. I didn't have a lot of bruises when I had filler and a little bit of Botox, but I definitely had some bruising. Twitter was totally trending all of these pictures of Amber Heard's bruises and side-by-side pictures of other people having Botox and fillers, and they look exactly the same. But again, who knows? This is obviously a terrible relationship, but we are here to prove, did that 2018 op-ed hurt Johnny's career? Was it intended to do so? And was it intended to be about Johnny? Well, we have evidence that it was intended to be about Johnny. We have all the emails. Amber has now admitted that she wrote the article. And what's crazy is she mentions Kate Moss. They were waiting for her to say this because they have something. I don't know what it is, but as soon as Johnny's lawyers and Johnny heard her say Kate Moss, you see them give a fist bump. The reason for this is they have something that they want to bring up, but they couldn't bring it up until Amber brought it up first. So because Amber brought it up, she opened the door for cross-examination to now bring Kate Moss up, because it was alleged by Amber that Johnny threw Kate Moss down the stairs. That testimony should not be in this. It shouldn't be in this. But when you open the door for that and you randomly say, oh, all I was thinking about was Kate Moss and these stairs. Now in cross-examination, now we can talk about that. It's crazy that her lawyers don't prevent her from saying things like that. Her lawyer should have said, don't say Kate Moss, don't say this, don't say that, be careful in what you say, don't say I wrote the op-ed. But her lawyers literally say, why are you here? And she goes, I'm here for a 2018 op-ed I wrote. Mr. Rottenborn says, we are here because Johnny has to prove that Amber wrote the op-ed. Okay, check, we can cross that off the list, and that it directly impacted his career, which I feel as though we can determine because he was not on Pirate 6. Pirate 6 is just lingering in the air. Who knows if it's gonna be filmed? So it's pretty obvious that Johnny earned less and less money, especially after the 2018 op-ed, but that we have to prove that. We have to have concrete evidence that says, yes, we did not cast you in this movie or that movie because of this op-ed. Do they have that? I don't know. So could Johnny lose? Possibly. But I think from Johnny's standpoint, I don't think he has anything left to lose. I think he wants to tell his side of the story. He wants to clear the air. Even if he wins or not, he just wants his truth out there. And that's what I think the entire point is. So will he win? Who knows? 50-50 shot. All right, you guys, I really hope that was not hella rambly. I hope all of that made sense. If you want to see the first video that I did on Johnny versus Amber, I will link that down below. Be sure to smash that subscribe button if you have not done so already, because I'm going to make a final video once the decision is reached, or maybe 2 videos because I can't stop watching this case. I'm like obsessed with it. All right, I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, justice for Johnny, and I will see you in my next one.